So
point.
diction, this is Aristotle. Diction or language is the expression of the meaning in words, and its essence is the same both in verse and in prose. So I talked about the kids. I said, okay, so where does language matter in this movie? How does language become a character in this movie? And they're like, I don't know what that means. And I'm like, I know you don't. I'm an idiot. Wouldn't think I could talk about this with But then one kid goes, well, like Hakuna Matata, that's not English. And I go, right. So they're using the Swahili and they're bringing in the African dialects. Hakuna Matata, right? But that becomes a song. That becomes a philosophy. That becomes a way of life. That becomes Act 2. All of Act 2 is Hakuna Matata, right? So if you understand Hakuna Matata as like this part of language, okay, so what other Swahili things is the movie? Nah, like you just do that, like your mind goes right to that thing, right?
Yep.
Right. Circle of life. Well, what is Circle of Life? Well, that's the whole point of the movie because it starts with Mufasa leading Simba, or Simba being anointed, and now it's Simba's son being anointed. It starts with the Pride Lands being green, and then they fall into destruction, and at the end of the movie, they're green again. Like it's the circle of life. The lions become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass. But seems like the antelope got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, a little bit. No, but then it's also interesting how, like, in life, you have a multiple other things as it's going through. Like, you can have both justice and mercy. Right? That's a part of life. The experience of both of those things. Like, when Simba cast out Mufasa, he shows him mercy, but he also brings justice. It's both things at the same time, right?
Yeah, you mean cast out Scar?
That is within the circle of life, those two things do not have to be opposed. They can work together as one for life to go on, right? They're not, it's things that you don't necessarily have to experience those things in isolation, I guess is my point.
Right.
Look at us, break it down. That's really fascinating.
It is fascinating. And then the next week I was like, let's talk about character. And then that's where we analyze the character of Simba from beginning, middle, and end. Where it's like, list his characteristics. Oh, he's a jerk. He's a brat. He's a this. He's a that. And it's like, well, he's not really a jerk, but he is a brat. And he's not like evil to his parents, but he is disobedient, disrespectful. But he's a kid, right? So Act 1 is child. Act 2 is adolescence. Act 3 is adult. And it's by this because Act 1, he's a cub. And he does all the things that little kids do. And I said, and I looked at them and I'm like, this is what Simba does to his parents is what you do to your parents. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, right. You listed disobedient, kind of bratty, right? Does what he wants. So I was like, how many does that describe you right now? Right. So we go through this stuff and it's like, but this is who you're called to like become. Is you're called to become this figure that other people can rely on.
Dude, this is great.
Right? Right? But here's my favorite, and I want to end with this. And you can, I think you could probably talk for days more than I ever could. But so we you and I, we both love music.
Tired.
You truly love music. Like music is so bound to your soul. Words are bound to my soul more than music. And of Aristotle's 6 things, right? Plot, character, thought, language, music, spectacle. Spectacle is last. And he does that on purpose because he said it is the least connected with the art of poetry. Spectacle is the least connected. So you can think about that in terms of like it's one of the 2 embellishments, song and spectacle. But now think about some of the biggest Hollywood blockbuster movies that do not do a good job with plot, that do not do a good job with character development, but rely entirely on song and spectacle to drive your attachment to the thing. So I said, okay, yeah.